Hello there guys and welcome, it is Niran here, and today it is time for a FIFA 16 career mode wish list. Now you may be wondering why I'm doing one of these in February. This is actually part of the campaign, I suppose you could say, orchestrated by Charney Sports, the hashtag change career mode idea. Now I am for this hugely because career mode has been stale, pretty much the same for about, well, 2 years now. The only thing they've changed is team management. That's not even career mode exclusive, so it's been a bit ridiculous over the last few years. So this is basically, this whole campaign is to try and bring some attention to career mode and to career mode YouTubers who are pretty fed up now with the same thing for at least the last 2 years. FIFA 13 was pretty similar as well. At least there was a menu change there, but still, that's not the point. I'm not here to complain. I'm here to look forward to FIFA 16. Nothing's been announced, of course, yet, but that's not going to stop me from speculating. So Charney Sports' channel will be in the description below. It feels slightly odd giving a shout out to someone who has 50k subscribers. However, if you don't know who he is, go and check him out. He's a career mode YouTuber. That's stupid of me, because you are going to know who he is if you know me, but that's not the point. Feel free to share this video with any big management on FIFA when it comes to community, when it comes to the community workers, or anyone who's head of career mode. I don't even know who those people are, but if you know them, share this video with them and share any other FIFA 16 wishlist you've seen with them on Twitter, and hopefully we'll get the message through. But now I'm going to start with the first point, and it has to be something that's been developed, or at least brought back recently, but needs to be developed in more detail, and this is youth academies. It really needs to be developed a little bit more. I think even something like just hiring staff. If you hire your own youth academies, wait, you can do that anyway. Ignore me, you can do that anyway. So you hire the staff, but that's it. You hire the staff, they go out and scout, they go to a certain country, they bring you back some players, but after that, you don't really get any insight into who the players are. You get an insight into their stats and their potential, but you don't really, you can't see stats. There's no games, there's no youth academy matches. We need to be having on the calendar a little schedule, and it has youth academy matches as well, because every team has a youth academy, or at least a youth setup. So on the calendar, along with the European games and the friendlies and the league games and the cup games, should be able to see some youth academy games, and you get some information back about the best performers in that match, the stats, the ratings as well. So if one of your young strikers scored a hat-trick in a game, you should be able to know about it. And then when it gets to the end of the season, if he was a star performer, you don't just see the rating, but you also see how they do as well, and what type of player they are. Then you could bring them up, send them out on loan. But once you've brought in the scout, there's very little you can actually do apart from just promote them up. I think you need to have just a youth academy set up, or at least those scouting days as well that you get on Football Manager. I think it's at the end of each season, where youth academy players sort of go on trials as well. Maybe they could introduce trials, and just some information about the players, the ratings they have, and the stats, the goals scored, assists, all the stuff you'd see for the main players as well, just to sort of add some more detail to the youth academy setup. But now we're going to move on to the next thing, and that is better press conferences, or just press conferences in general, because the ones we have now are pointless, completely and utterly useless. I used to use them on, I think, FIFA 13, the first year they got announced, because it actually used to do something, but they have like a decreasing level of influence over anything in recent FIFAs. So that's kind of frustrating. If they were animated, that would be absolutely awesome, although that would be quite difficult. It would maybe look a little bit cringy and a little bit 2D if you were starting to have journalists and stuff in actual fully blown animated 3D press conferences. Although that would be something I would love to see eventually. Something they've been doing on actual Football Manager games, like LMA Manager, like 2002, or something that was on there. It was terrible graphics, but the idea was there. So there's no reason why it can't be done now, especially with all the graphics that EA can produce with players and the such like. And yeah, you can sit through multiple questions, and then you can reply with one of 4 different answers or something like that. You get the choice to reply. Maybe you get an aggressive answer, or you actually get the wording, the actual answer. You don't just get reply aggressively or reply cautiously. That would be stupid. But there's sort of variety to the answers that you can give, or you can give a very conservative answer, anything like that, just to make those press conferences mean something. And maybe the answers that you give can change the morale of players at your team, or change the opinions of other teams towards yourself, or other managers, or actually have some sort of influence, not just sort of say consistency is key, then that comes up on the news, and then that's sort of it. But yeah, overall I would love to see that. Number 3, got to see pre-season tournaments and tours. This is something that's increasingly important in real life, so stuff like the Emirates Cup and the Abu Dhabi Cup and Etihad Cup, and I think stuff that Manchester City compete in, AC Milan and all that sort of thing, and PSG. the opportunity to actually set up a pre-season tournament with whatever dates you like, as long as there's maybe like 3 days between games or something, with 4 teams or 3 other teams of your choice, and at a location of your choice, in a month of your choice. And then that just adds something, because the pre-season friendlies are cool. Obviously, we do get pre-season friendlies just on their own, dotted around in real life before the season starts, but pre-season tournaments and pre-season tours are something that happens in real life, so why not put it on the game? Makes it more realistic and actually adds something to pre-season as well, rather than just being distributed 3 games, which is good anyway, but pre-season tournaments probably add something a little bit more. Number 4 and 5, they're small things, really, pretty much self-explanatory, but manager customization, because you get a very default-looking guy depending on what complexion you choose, and kit customization as well. Now, kit customization is going to be quite hard, because obviously that's to do with licensing, and sponsorship deals and everything like that, and I know that would be very difficult to do, but eventually, if that was a possibility, I'm not going to say it's going to be on the next game, let's be honest, it won't be, but it would be something that I would like to see anyway if they could possibly do that. For manager customization, it would be so easy to implement. You know, you don't have to use it. You can go for the default guy if you want, but there's be a pro player customization, so why not have manager customization? The next thing is staff hire. Now, obviously, I talked about slightly derpishly earlier, although I'd forgotten that you could actually hire youth scouts. You can obviously hire GTN scouts, but why not go like the full hog? Go for the backroom staff, like assistant manager, first team coaches, physios, and like the better star or the better rating they are, the more of an influence they actually have on the team. So if you have a really good physio, who's like 5-star, 5-star, I don't know what those stats would be, but if he was like a 5-star physio, for example, players would get injured less often, or maybe that would be the first 5-star rating. Players would get injured less often, and then the recuperation from injuries would be quicker, so that would be the second option as well. Like, you know how with youth scouts you obviously have the experience and the judgment, so those would be the 2 stats, one that makes it less likely for players to get injured in the first place, and then another rating that decreases the time it actually takes for injuries to heal and for players to come back to action. Anything like that. Coaching, perhaps, if you had like your first team coach, maybe the younger players would go up stats a lot easier. If you had a better coach or something like that, obviously if you have better youth scouts as well, the players may go up stats more often, because I don't think the actual star or the actual quality of the scout has any effect on the growth of players in the youth academy. Obviously, if they were to bring in more detailed youth academies, that could work as well. And then in the first team coach would have a similar effect, but on the first team players. So that's something I would like to see. Full backroom staff. I think it was something that was actually on old PS2 FIFAs, not in that much detail, but it was something nonetheless. And maybe PR managers or anything like that for promotion. Number 7, another quite small thing, feeder teams. It's something that really should be, I suppose, implemented at some point, because it does exist in real life. You've got teams like Vitesse Arnhem, who are a Dutch team. In recent times, they've become a sort of feeder team to Chelsea, and Chelsea tend to loan out a lot of players to Vitesse Arnhem, about 4 players a season. Obviously, maybe if you put a player up for loan, they're more likely to go to that team, you're more likely to get an offer from that team, that feeder club, and you can send your youth players out there, and obviously you can choose the feeder club as well. You might have a little option as well. If you go onto certain leagues, you could click on that team and make them a feeder club. They could accept it or reject it, obviously. They'll probably accept it, but if they accepted it, then there's like a 100% bonus or something on how likely you are to loan a player out or get an offer for a certain player. And then finally, a social media edition or a TV style feature. Now, this would be something literally like, for social media it would be quite difficult, but more for the TV style. Although social media, maybe you could have news stories breaking. This is another thing, news is very stale. You could have managers getting sacked or resigning or whatever, and then that comes up on your TV channel or on your social media account. Maybe it'll be made up EA social media account, and yeah, and you just get all the news from that instead of just getting it in that news form. Maybe you could get it from that as well, but stories are actually broken day by day, either on an internet service, on a TV channel, made up TV channel, or through social media. Social media would probably be the easiest to implement out of those. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this wish list. That's all of my ideas. Feel free to drop your opinions in the comments section below. I'm going to try and make this video less than 10 minutes if I possibly can, but drop your suggestions in the comment section below for what you would like to see for FIFA 16, not just for career mode, for Ultimate Team or any other game modes in general. Feel free to drop a like if you enjoyed this video, comment about enjoying it if you enjoyed the video that much, as well as for your suggestions, and subscribe if you are new around here. That would help me out absolutely hugely. But in the meantime, it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a good day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.